we need to talk about a huge problem that Yu-Gi-Oh players have been mentioning for a while. The problem has just resurfaced over YCS Sacramento and will affect how you play the game at your next event. Let's go ahead and jump on in. What's going on with ya, big dog? And it is an amazing day for Yu-Gi-Oh! I hope that's your day phenomenal. But if it isn't, don't let what happened at the beginning of your day ruin the rest of your day. Today, big dogs, we need to talk about something that happened at YCS Sacramento that players are damn near writing about. This was a problem when it first released, but now it's getting exacerbated by terrible Yu-Gi-Oh gameplay or terrible Yu-Gi-Oh game design. I bet you guys will get it if I gave you a chance to guess. The card prize for sure. Konami survey? Oh my god. Yugioh FTK? Oh no. I promise you guys, I will talk about all of those other things too, because Yu-Gi-Oh has a ton of problems, and the best way for you to be updated is to make sure that you have that notification bell on all, so you can get all my posts and I can annoy you every 5 seconds. But the thing that I want to talk to you guys about is what happened in the top cut of YCS Sacramento. I will go ahead and show you exactly what I mean. All right, guys, I want you to pay close attention what happens into this game, right?
Want to get as many in there as possible, and that's why there's so many synergies with the White Forest cards.
Definitely a really cool deck in its own right. Basically, 2 cool decks that happen to be stacked on top of each other. But hey, that's the same thing on Fiendsmith, Snake Eye. Love the creativity of Duelist, right?
So Ibra has won game 1. It is 4 minutes and 49 seconds in, right? And now we are going into the next game.
Right, but looks like that's enough. I think Ibra went ahead and conceded that game, and yeah, Jose has won the second duel, so we got ourselves a match with about 4 minutes left on the clock.
I think Ibra only had 2
So now, as you guys can see, they are both going into their side deck, and they are preparing themselves to switch cards out of their side deck or into their main deck for the next and final game. It is 4 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock roughly when this started. I'm gonna go ahead and skip ahead, but as you can see, Jose has finished sighting, or he's still sighting, my apologies. About a minute in, and both players are still sighting. So it has taken roughly 2 minutes for Jose to side, right? Ibra is still figuring out what he's going to play. He's taking cards out, he's putting cards in, and he's still sighting, and he's at roughly the 20-ish second mark when people are preparing. It looks like Ibra has taken a considerable amount of time to side deck. I want to know what you guys' thoughts about this is because when both players are going to start, they start the game in time, and basically what happens in Top Cut, if you start the game in time, then instead of it being that phase and ending, it actually both players get a turn, but whoever gains or loses life points first is the loser. And as you can see, Ibra's gonna go first. He's gonna summon out Hugin. He's gonna use Hugin to get his runic fountain. None of this really matters. He gets drolled. He synchro summons again. It looks like he's playing out card effects. He activates his runic card. He summons Hugin, so he did bait his opponent to see if he had any interruptions. Activate Hugin. We're in time, so he's going to gain life points and attempt to shake his hand. Like, look, this part's cold. That's cold. Just looking around like, yo, this is game. I know my rules, right? Some people think that this is completely scummy and this was an intentional move. Munin gains life points, and in this particular situation, the first person to gain or lose life points is declared the winner. That's beyond scummy. He'd have to see me about my fade. That was intentional. Definitely slow sighting. Judges should be fired. Chad, if you guys think that I don't play my editors, you guys should see what the judges get paid. I mean, I don't think Konami can even afford to fire them how little they get paid for what they have to go through. It states specifically in the rules that you have roughly 3 minutes to be able to side deck, but you cannot use those 3 minutes slowly to side deck. Basically, if you guys are taking your time, you will be penalized for it if they see that you're doing it maliciously. And the problem that a lot of people have with Ibra is that they think that he's taking his time and he's maliciously using up time so he can get into time. I can tell you a few things about being on this stage, and while I can't tell you if Ibra intentionally did it or not, I can tell you a couple of reasons why the man should not be talked about like this. 1, there are 3 judges on that main stage. It is up to them to uphold the rules. So many times where we see a mistake happens during the stream and the judge not catch it, that is their responsibility. The same thing goes for this side decking scenario. If they think that a player is taking too much time, then it is up to them to uphold the rules. You guys can say that he slow played, but he definitely didn't slow play by the judge's definition. 2, while Ibra did cite in cards that were very easy to cite in, cards like Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood Emergency Provision, it also means that he has to side cards out. And depending on the situation, those cards could potentially be different. And that could be a reason why he took a long time. I'm not saying that that is the reason or that's why he took a long time. I'm saying that there is a possibility. And at a high level event like this, it could really go either way. I am not here to say that Ibra was liberated. I'm just here to get you guys to think, because everybody is attacking this person and we can't confirm or deny what he did. Did I personally think that Ibra slow played? Bro, I ain't gonna lie, I do. But that is not up to me to determine that. I am not a judge. One thing that I can say is that the judges are pretty bad at catching stuff like that. You guys have to have your antennas on. It's 4 minutes and 30 seconds left in a top 32. Understandably, there's a lot of pressure mounting, and seeing that you're on stream, there's even more pressure. Have you guys ever played on a stream? I'm telling you, it is crazy. I have accidentally cited out cards or cited in cards that I should not have done just because I'm in the light of the moment and things are going on. It's a lot more pressure than you think. But overall, you guys can blame Ibra as much as you want, but more importantly, the judges have to share the brunt of this problem too. There needs to be a uniform decision on how side decking works. The next thing that we have to talk about is, I ain't gonna lie, it's scummy. Unfortunately, using every rule to your advantage should probably be used when it comes to winning games. Y'all not really thinking about it. Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro players do this every single time. In this particular format, the reason why Snake Eyes Fiendsmith is the best deck isn't because it's worlds and heaps stronger than other decks. Fiendsmith Snake Eye is the best deck because it almost guarantees you a game 1 win, and since it takes 30 to 40 minutes to play the game, it's going to win into time. It has burn cards that when you get into time, all it has to do is resolve those burn cards. And saying that it almost guarantees to win game 1, you're cooked on game 2 too. Literally, what I've been seeing a lot of pro Yu-Gi-Oh players do is take up 30 minutes of the time doing their Fiendsmith Snake Eyes combo, win game 1, allow you to take up 7 minutes of the time in game 2, and then game 3, they just do the burn thing and take enough time to be able to win the game. It's the scummiest thing, but it's them taking advantage of the rules and you not noticing it. You noticed Ibra potentially taking advantage of the rules. Not mad at Ibra, he used all the resources and means legally presented to him. Exactly. I think every single one of us would feel terrible if we felt that we were cheated out of a game. But Ibra was not penalized for slow play, and it seems like he wasn't penalized for slow play throughout the day, because that's something that they would have been watching him for. The next thing is that he did play within the confines of the rules. I think that there's like somebody saying that he took like 4 minutes or so, but to be honest with you guys, no one's genuinely sitting on stage timing you. So though 3 minutes does become like an infinite amount of time, I'm not even gonna cap. If you abuse time in any form to win games, you're trash regardless of who. I disagree with you, Berserker. You're basically saying anybody that plays cards like Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood in their deck is trash. The fact of the matter is every single Yu-Gi-Oh player builds their deck with time in mind, and they play with time in mind. It's a terrible part of the game, but it's a necessary part of the game. While I do agree there may have been some type of intentional slow play to side, it wasn't penalized, and to be honest, it's almost encouraged by the Konami rules. It's a situation where you don't hate the player, you hate the game. So let's go to hate the game. I actually asked you guys on my Twitter, what should we do to fix this? And I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say too. Newt says, lowering your opponent's life points to 0 is not the main goal anymore, but managing resources and playing interactions. And that aspect should be taken in consideration when time gets called. Like, okay, you gained 1,000 life points, but you can't push through my stuff with your card. I think Newt is suggesting that it doesn't matter if you gain life points or not. If the opponent actually had a winnable game, then they win. Saint Nine says, hate dudes that slow play. Called them a coward. That being said, dude on the stream is playing a tier 0 deck with Lacrima, so he was going to do the same thing. I think we're getting exactly where it's going. Olep says, I always thought that they should do chess rules, 40-minute match, each person gets 20 minutes on the timer, and you have to hit start, making the opponent's timer go off and vice versa. I think that that's a little bit complicated because in chess, you make a move, then your opponent makes a move, and in Yu-Gi-Oh, I have interactions, and sometimes I can think in between your interactions, which takes up time. I think I have a solution, and I want to know what you guys think about this. I wholeheartedly agree with everyone saying that judges need to be on the same page. This is a clear blunder clear by the judges that Ibra did have a longer time frame than he should have. But also, you guys have to understand, this doesn't happen in Ibra's favor, then Jose 100% does the exact same thing. It's kind of dumb how Yu-Gi-Oh has become, where all these burn cards become the end of Yu-Gi-Oh, and it doesn't fare fair because your opponent just summons a burn card and wins. The end of Yu-Gi-Oh duels becomes who plays burn cards inside of their deck. And I don't think that adding turns is a good thing simply because it makes tournament gameplay take too long. I think that there needs to be a actual course for judges to have to take in order to judge events. Judges need more work. Konami really needs to invest more into judging. Judges need a better wage. They need an actual process and protocol to follow by. Konami is really falling behind on that department. Chat, I wouldn't be surprised if I went to go take the judge test and it's the exact same judge test from that I took in 2012, to be honest. The judge testing means anybody with half of a brain can be a judge. And the worst part about this judge test is that it doesn't even have the complex rulings. I'm pretty sure that my son can pass the judge test. I mean, he did win a regional. The bar is incredibly low to be a judge, and I'm not gonna lie, no one really wants to judge, guys. It's not enough pay. It's not rewarding. People are always complaining about you. You're normally the brunt of the story, just like this one. But that's just because Konami hasn't invested enough resources into you guys. You guys are not empowered. To be honest, I wouldn't mind. I think that the Yu-Gi-Oh player community would agree. We wouldn't mind paying a little bit extra. Like if it's 2,000 people paying an additional $5, that's an extra $2,000 that goes towards the judges for them to be properly trained and staffed correctly. I actually did math wrong. It's 10,000, isn't it? Did I do math wrong? I probably did. It didn't matter at this point. I'm not a judge.